Merry Christmas to all of you. I hope you have a wonderful day with your loved ones, your families, your significant others. We wanted to share a special Christmas Day video with you. It's an interview with the third biggest selling male artist of the 20th century, just behind Elvis Presley and Frank Sinatra. It's not Christmas without his magical voice. Coming up, he's going to tell us about his famous Christmas record and the story behind an all-time #1 hit that is now considered a highlight of the Great American Songbook, and how this song caused him to almost get in a car wreck the first time he heard it on the radio because he was so excited. I'm telling you, this interview is magic. Again, Merry Christmas from Professor Rock.
Come on, it's lovely weather for a sleigh ride together with you.
Merry Christmas, your Christmas album. How wonderful to be able to sing a song that every year, for thousands of years, people will be singing along to Winter Wonderland.
We're happy tonight, walking in the Winter Wonderland.
It's not Christmas without Johnny, without Bing, without Nat King Cole.
My blessing was after I had made maybe 4 recordings that had become successful, I said, I want to make a Christmas album for my mom. And God bless Percy Faith. He was quite wonderful.
Yeah.
And Glenn Osser, what a pal he was. And they both stepped forward. I was so young, and I had enthusiasm, but not much. No restraints on this enthusiasm. And that's what I learned to sing in tandem with an orchestra from Glenn Osser and Percy Faith.
In the lane, snow is glistening, a beautiful sight.
I'd be singing over here, and they'd be conducting the orchestra, and I'd do something, and Percy would go. And and I'd say, can I do that again, please? And he'd smile. That's it.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
He said something to me that was quite wonderful. It's almost tantamount to just sing the song. Don't do any fancy. Just sing it.
Sing it straight.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And of course, it was the best advice I ever got as a singer.
Well, there's that magic of Christmas and the magic of your voice. You put the two together and it's going to work.
I was
really,
so
really well.
happy that we had success with the Christmas music for my mom, of course. You want to do everything in the world for your mom. And that was the time that she made it so special. My mom and my dad worked for everybody all the time. They cooked for everybody all the time. They did extraordinary things for everybody else. And they only had a few moments for us at home to do some of those things. And they were wonderful cooks. And of course, when I did this Christmas music, all I thought about was my mom's cooking.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
At this moment right now in the present, what are you most grateful for?
I'm grateful for my friendships with all of the people who've gone before me, as far as musicians and people who are involved with music. And I'm grateful for the kindness that they've shown me. I am a product of so many gifted people who have helped me. And I think we all are. We could really go back and count, all the people who have helped us.
Christmas.
My dad and my mom were my best pals. And one day my dad came to our little basement flat in San Francisco with a bunch of, I thought it was wood, planks and things. Yeah. And he put it together, and in the middle of the night, or maybe 2 or 3 in the morning, for the first time, my brothers and sisters and I heard the piano played. Dad worked all day like Mom did, and he was in his work clothes. He was a painter. He painted people's houses, and he was all with his paint stuff on, and he was putting this stuff together, and it took a long time, and we all went to bed, and we were awakened by this sound that we'd never heard playing the piano. We don't have a piano. Well, we did then. We never knew that Dad could play the piano, and that was the genesis of my music. From that time on, I sat by my father's knee and listened to him play the piano and sing songs. And over the years, I think I've recorded everything that Pop ever sang when he was, at that point.
Wow.
So that's how it all started. The friendship that I had with Robert Allen, who wrote It's Not For Me To Say, just bumped into him actually on the streets in New York. And he introduced himself, said that he had been the writer of the Four Lads' big hits at the time. And we struck up a relationship, and he presented me with the first song, It's Not For Me To Say. We recorded it, and it was it was about 6 months, I think, before I finally heard it in a taxi cab I was in. I went crazy and almost, had a car wreck because I said, that's it, that's my song, I'm leaving it on the radio. And after the success of It's Not For Me To Say, Bob Allen, who was a very popular composer at the time, said, I got another song for you. And I go, oh, well, it'll never be as good or as big as It's Not For Me To Say. Well, he put it, he said, chances are, 'cause I wear a silly grin. And I went, oh, that's nice. And then, of course,
Oh, wow.
But he was quite important to my career.
Chances are, 'cause I wear a silly grin.
But chances are, let's talk about that. Inducted in the Grammy Hall of Fame and #1 song.
The thing that I learned about from Bob is that these people who write all these wonderful songs for people like myself are working craftsmen who have lots and lots and lots of background as far as what they do. And to have them choose that song for me, they had to have something almost like a wisdom that I didn't have. I mean, how did they know that that song would be for me? There are certain people who are really, really talented in so many different ways. And of course, I've met so many of them, and I've learned from them. And the fact that people have listened to my music over the years. That's something that I don't think too many of us who do what I do are aware of. It's not in the front of your mind because you're so busy doing what you're doing. And when someone says that they heard your stuff, you go, oh, really?
Yeah.
And it's a joy, of course. It's a blessing.
Chances are you think my heart your...
What do you remember about recording that? Because there's so many vocal nuances, especially that last line. When you're singing a song like that, John, what is your inspiration?
There's a certain amount of innocence that goes with all of these first recordings that I did. I was gangbusters. I'll sing it. And so what they did mostly is put the reins on me. Mitch Miller stood next to me while I was singing. And I don't recommend this for any singer in the world. But I was a kid and I went along with it. He would tap me on the back, sing on the beat. You're a jazzer. No, you don't do that.
Because he wanted you to sing it so that people could sing along.
Yes.
Yeah.
His big phrase, I want everybody to think that they can sing it just as good as you can. And I said, and I got accustomed to that, and I understood what he was talking about, but it took me a long time. I will never get over that. And they said, he tapped you on the back while you were singing? I said, yes. He wanted me to sing
he must have
on
knew.
the beat.
Chances are you believe the stars.
I had to learn that there are parameters when you're singing whatever you're doing. And don't wander out into somebody else's parameters. You know, it's sing your part, sing what the man wrote. You know, and then you know, we'll see how it goes.
That's why Cole Porter probably loved you, because he was not a fan of Sinatra, because Sinatra would always change his stuff, and that made him mad.
Yes,
I used to read about it.
And I had to learn that those people who write the songs want you to sing it that way. You know, I sang a song from a Broadway production called Gypsy. Written, of course, by Stephen Sondheim. And I met him once coming out of the recording studio. Actually, I met Bernstein first, and Bernstein said, oh, yes, John. He says, I heard you sing Stephen's song. And he says, I like the way you changed that around on that. And what I did is I sang it, I juxtaposed one of his melodies. And small world, isn't it? That's the note I should have sang. I said, small world, isn't it? That comes later, which I finally learned. Small world, isn't it? But I was a kid, you know, and you're so excited about doing it, and you get, I got so many notes wrong. But at least they were right in context.
Well, chances are it was such a great vulnerability to your vocal on that. Just such an innocence. And I love the last line after the break, and you come in with the piano, and that's just a beautiful, my favorite part of it. It's an innocence, and not that the 1950s, that things bad didn't happen in the 1950s, because we've come a long way since then, but it was a simpler time in terms of music, for sure.
A wonderful innocence, as you say, and that innocence has to be, if you meet up with the right person and they give you parameters. We had 3 hours, for instance, to do 4 songs. And of course, yes, and that went on for years.
If you didn't get it done, you released them.
Well, they released them anyway. And oh my gosh, there's so many that I got wrong. And I said, oh, you're going to release it anyway? And they said, yes. But they didn't say that. You just went away, and you ended up, you know, hearing that and saying, oh my God, they released that song. Oh my God.
Well, and chances are it was using Close Encounters of the Third Kind. And there's a new Spielberg documentary that's out about Steven Spielberg, the filmmaker, and he talks about when the aliens came, how would we communicate? And he first thought math, but he said, no, I think it would be music, because music is something that touches all of us, and it's more emotion and feeling. And he used it in that part where it was an appropriate choice for him, because he used it when the little boy met the alien. That says chances are.
It's a thrill of my life when I actually met
Steven Spielberg?
Yes, at some function, maybe a year before that was released. He said, oh yeah, I used one of your songs in my film. And I forgot all about it. And then when I saw the film, this wonderful, wonderful film, it was the most exciting thing that ever happened to me when I saw that. And I must have gone back to that theater 1,000 times.
It's also been used in humor. I mean, you were on The Simpsons and they used it. Your line was trimming the hedge and killing the gophers. And you're on The Simpsons.
Yes, I went and did something recently about that, and sat down and signed a lot of autographs. Give this hedge a trim, and I will kill the gophers too.
Well, in Diner, did you see Diner when they had that argument? That movie?
Yes. Oh, that was wonderful, and I met the director.
Yeah, Barry Levinson.
Barry. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
When you want to make out, who do you make out to? Sinatra or Mathis? It's irrelevant. I won't answer it. Mathis.
I never thought of my music as being romantic. It's just music, you know, and then make-out music. Oh well, gotta play something. You know, the joy that I get, and that I did get while my parents were alive, was when they heard my music played, you know, in the movies or on the radio or
TV
something. And of course, they are the genesis of this little boy who they heard around the house all the time singing. And now it's gonna go on the airwaves. And so the thing in my life that I'm so grateful for is that my parents lived long enough to see my success.
Awfully